What's up, guys, and welcome back to Beyond the Void Horror Podcast. My name is Alex, and today we're going to be doing a spoiler-free review of VHS 99, which is a new movie out on Shudder, a new sequel. Let's check it out. I love the VHS franchise. I liked the last one a whole lot. I thought it was a lot of fun. And, you know, the only one that anybody ever really kind of doesn't like is the VHS viral one. But, you know, it's been through a different group of hands. Bloody Disgusting has kind of taken the wheel now, and they are putting it out with Brad Miska, David Bruckner, and quite a few others who are actually a part of it now. Some pretty fun stuff, I think, with it, with some really fresh new directors. Now, this particular VHS 99, of course, is another anthology that is taking place in 99, where all the movies and segments and sort of shorts have to be along those lines in that era, and sort of kind of pay homage to that. Now, if you remember in the last one, we had a few more that were in the 80s that kind of looked a little less in the 80s. This one kind of looks a lot more like the 90s, and they do some pretty cool stuff with like the camera work and the sort of in-between stuff to kind of make it feel like you're watching one tape, which I really liked. Now, we get a lot of whole new directors on this one. Some you may know, some you may not. We have Flying Lotus, who did a really wild movie called Kuso some time ago. He's also a composer, musician, and has made quite a success off of their music. We got Maggie Levin, who is somewhat new to the scene, but she's been doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes, like Into the Dark, the TV show, Miss 2059. We also have Johannes Robert. We also have Johannes Roberts, who has done 47 Meters Down, the sequel as well, and the new Resident Evil movie. And Joseph and Vanessa Winters, who we just talked about in their new movie called Deadstream on Shudder as well, which was fantastic. And they are back in form on this one. Now, I won't spoil anything about any of the segments or anything like that. I really feel like this is kind of one of those things that you just kind of need to go for the ride, but I'll give you kind of a gist of the situation because I want you to know what I think about this without spoiling it, of course, for you to enjoy. These segments, I enjoyed all of them. There was no real bad ones in the bunch, which is always a good sign. Now they, kind of go from best to greatest, they're all in that order, and it seems like it flows really well that way, and less story driven and a little bit more heavier story driven by the end. Typically they save the best one for last, it seems like, for me, and that's my experience. So I think they've done a really good job here of placing these in that order. But again, I really liked all of them, even some of them that were just kind of average a little bit. This one's a little lighter on the horror element. I don't want to say lighter on the horror as in there's no horror in it, but it's more of a comedy horror than it is a regular horror scary thing, which I think this is a perfect kind of film or anthology for the holidays right now to just have fun with. All of them do have some pretty decent practical effects, masks and makeup and stuff like that. It's not the most expensive looking stuff that I've seen, but it works. And that's really all that matters when you're doing an anthology or a short in particular, is to make it work. And that's what I said with the Deadstream, is that if you can make that work and it still feels creative and enjoyable and entertaining, then it really doesn't matter just how perfect the practical effects are. You just make it work. The first segment is called Shredding. I won't say what it is, obviously, but this one is the slighter one on the story elements, but it follows a group of kids who are obviously shooting video and find out some pretty crazy stuff. I enjoyed this one, but I felt that it was just slightly over average. The next one in the segments was Suicide Bid, and that one was actually pretty short and kind of to the point, but I still enjoyed it. A little bit on the average side, but still pretty cool because there's some fun stuff that they do in it. We have Ozzy's Dungeon, which is a little bit more on the creative side and a little more wild, but again, we got Flying Lotus doing that one, which is going to be the more bizarre one, I think, of the bunch. We also have the Gawkers, which I thought was a really cool segment because it wasn't my most favorite one out of the bunch, but what they did with it was sort of the wraparound with the fourth segment. So it kind of like blends into that. And I thought that was really a really neat usage of this. Good way to do a wraparound in this that has never been done before. So I thought that was cool. And then last but not least, my favorite of the bunch, which is To Hell and Back by Vanessa and Joseph Winter, who did Deadstream. I absolutely loved this one. This was fantastic. Of course, Joseph stars in this with another actor, which was really funny too. And we also have Melanie Stone returning as one of the actresses in the movie. She plays a character named Mabel. And that's all I'll say about this. This was my favorite of the whole thing. And man, is Melanie fucking funny, man. She really brings the intensity to her role and her character. And everybody's kind of like popping off, you know, but Melanie she really does steal the show in a lot of this. And she also kind of does that in Deadstream as well, which, you know, if you haven't seen that, I would highly recommend you watch that. If you have not, watch it immediately, because if you like this one, you're going to love that one as well. And this is more of the same, very creative segment out of all of them. I think they're all really creative, but this one just blows you out of the water as far as like this segment is just popping and staying interesting throughout the whole thing. It is really good. And man, I just cannot wait to see more from Vanessa and Joseph, man. They're just fantastic. I think this particular anthology, VHS 99, is a little slightly weaker on all of the parts combined than the last entry we got, but it's also a little different than the last one as well, which kind of had some funny and some more scarier stuff in it. So that mix might have not made some people happy, while this one may actually please a little bit more. But again, you know, I think people are a little picky with these anthologies because I think they're looking for like the best ones out of all of them. And this one is a little lighter on some of the more popular segments, I would say. But overall, I mean, I enjoyed all of these in here. I didn't hate any of them. I thought they were just a little lighter on some of the subject matter and sort of the interest and entertainment value, but you know, you only get a certain amount of time, and this was like an hour and 50-minute anthology, so I think they really give each of the segments a pretty decent amount of time, and they had that sort of 99 flair, so I'm kind of curious what they're going to do next. One of the segments was like gearing at the 99 era, which is kind of on the cusp of 2000 and the 90s. So it is interesting how they kind of blend the two in there, because some of the segments feel a little bit more 90s and some of them feel a little bit more mid 2000s. You know, it's all kind of mixed up there, and probably depending on where you are in the country, hell, they could be still doing 2000s right now. But overall, I really did enjoy this one. I would say this one's probably like a 7.5, maybe an 8 for some people. It may be lower. I find that with anthologies or just shorts in general, people are a little bit more particular with these kind of films. I am way more open because I understand that you're trying to do a lot on a little versus, you know, getting a ton of money to just do everything that everybody wants to see. And you're trying to compare like all these little shorts to a huge big budget movie. It's just not going to happen. So I just look for the creativity, the entertainment value. If it's trying to be funny, is it funny? Is it, if it's trying to do a specific thing, is it achieving that? And I think overall, I think has achieved it. It wasn't my favorite thing ever, but I will absolutely 100% be picking this up on Blu-ray if they put it out along with Deadstream, and I still need to get VHS 84, I think it was. But yeah, that's just my thoughts on the whole thing. I really did have a great time, and this is the end segment. I can't talk about that enough. Really makes this one stand out. And you know, I like I said, from beginning to end, I really enjoyed all of them, but they just start to get a little bit better as they go on. The only thing I had a gripe with the first one is that the camera work on it was just a little, I felt like it was like cutting out of what was actually happening, and I couldn't see what was going on, but maybe that was their intention to just kind of allude to it. I appreciate you guys coming by. I'm trying to pump out these reviews here for you guys. I got the Toronto After Dark Film Festival that I'm doing, so I would really appreciate your support and checking out these reviews, finding out some new movies that you like, while I'm still doing Voidtober, which is a hell of a lot of work this month. Trying to get you guys all the reviews I can possibly do. So definitely stay tuned. We're going to have multiple ones each day. But thanks for stopping by, and as always, long live the void.